Okay, I'm gonna skip the first part of my presentation because of time. Um, Normally, I tell something about the speed of innovation and the link between the total number of people on the planet. I'm gonna skip this part. I'm gonna start with another interesting thing in our evolution of our world population, and that's the fact that migration to the cities still continues. We're gonna live with more people on the same place. The demand for houses rises. Um, the private living area decreases. We're gonna live more compact. So we have less space to manage our waste at home. And that's an interesting fact because what we see is we have a lot of new middle class consumers, a lot of people in the same place. We have also on the public space, on the private space. And what we see in waste management is that you see the shift from the management of waste fractions at home, the shift from door-to-door collection to bring your waste systems. Door collection, what I mean, it's you manage your waste at home, you store all the bins and bags, and you wait for collection day, and then you present your bags and bins, and the truck drives by, and you collect all the waste. Because of the fact that people are live more and more dense, we see the rise of the bring your waste system. So you have to not to store all the waste fractions at home, but you can bring your waste at waste reception points in cities and other places. So you can bring your waste when it suits you. What we see is that we still collect. It's not obvious that we still collect our waste in this century as in the 19th century. Thus we see also an evolution in this management of the different waste fractions. So it's an example of a self-service application. You bring your waste, you do it by yourself. And also in waste collection, we see this shift. I want to share with you some interesting facts of a researcher in Belgium. It's called Mr. Van Belleghem, about self-service economy. And what we see is that consumers worldwide become more and more demanding. And another interesting fact is that 40% of the people, they prefer self-service to human contact for future contacts with a company. So another interesting fact is that you see the self-service application in all the phase of the customer journey. It's not only in sales, but also in pre-sales. Even in post-sales, we see the self-service. People want to do things by themselves, but if they have a problem, they don't want to speak to a computer. It's hateful if you have a problem and you call something and you press 3 for this and 4 for that. It's hateful. If people have a problem, they want to speak a human being. But also in the self-service economy, people love to be helped by other people, by other consumers. So it's an interesting thing to, if you look to waste collection systems and the customer perspectives and customer services, that you can also use a self-service application. So, as I told, we see the self-service in waste collection. Also, other interesting evolutions, but the main thing is that self-service started as an application to improve efficiency, cost reduction, because you do the things by themselves. But today's consumers, they see self-service as a perfect solution for their demands. We see also evolutions in door-to-door collection, but the most of them are in the bring your waste systems. I'm going to show you some examples. This example is a big, large waste reception at the border of the cities. It's in Belgium, this one, where most of the time it's for demolition waste and trash and other things. It's not for household or organics or things like that. This is an example in Antwerp, where in Belgium also, where you it's our 5 waste underground waste containers for every waste fraction. So you have organics, plastics, residual, glass, and paper and cardboard. And the truck, the system counts the number of times the terminal has opened. It's access card controlled, and the truck is called automatically to empty the containers. This whole thing goes automatically, and it takes only a few minutes to empty the containers. So they start also with big data to manage the waste behavior of the users. Another system is the underground system with pipes and tubes, with access points on the public space, but also in buildings, where people can bring their waste, and the waste is transported underground, also to the borders of the neighborhood by an airflow of around 70 kilometers per hour. And in some cities in Asia, it's this kind of waste collection is a standard system. Another example is eco walls, it calls. It's walls where you can bring your waste fractions. Most of the time at the entrance of large department stores, where you can bring your bottles and cans. And you can get an exchange fee which you can use in the department store to buy new products. We see these examples in the northern region of Europe, but also in other cities. You can see the rise of this application of bring your waste systems. The mobile ones, is a mobile waste reception center. It can be a truck or a converted truck or a container where you can bring your waste, several different waste fractions. So most of the time the mobile waste reception centers are located on a predetermined time and place, and they jump from neighborhood to neighborhood on the schedule. This is an example of the collection of organic waste collection in the kitchen. It's a dry grinder. The food waste is like shredded, and it's collected in a separate collection tank under the kitchen sink. And when your storage tank is full, you can bring the waste to an underground waste system. There's also an application of a bring your waste system. What you also see is a lot of collection points for single waste streams. This is an example for textile in the Netherlands. It's an underground container where you can bring your clothes and other textile, and then they collect it and they recycle it. Important in this case is the humidity of underground storage. So there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages on the different systems. The same story for used cooking oil, where you can sort from bring point, waste reception center. Most of the time also on department stores where you can bring your used cooking oil. Household batteries, drop-off point. It's also the same story for a single waste stream where you can bring your household batteries. This is an example of a combination of a public mailbox and a small collection point for collection of e-waste. So it's in Netherlands also, and it's a project, but the people were very enthusiastic about this situation. They're going to implement it in different cities, in several cities. This is a case of Curitiba in Brazil. It's an application of how would I say, rewarding for bringing your waste. It was in Brazil, in this city, the 2/3 of the household waste is collected separately and recycled. Even the waste reception centers are made from waste. It's started in 1990 when the Green Exchange project was set up. It was to stimulate the poor people to bring their waste in exchange for food products and bus tickets, and the product had a very good effect on employment and health and waste management. They have a collection of organic waste and the non-organic waste. Also, in reduce and reuse context, we see bring your waste, bring your goods systems. This is an example of a second-hand event for clothes for children, where people, with their young families, can buy and sell the clothes that they don't use anymore. We see other things like websites and applications like Freecycle and second-hand applications on smartphones and to use and to share some goods. Also, the Bring Your Waste application. This is also an interesting case. This is the case of the community fridge. It's in England, in the UK. It helps people, this community fridge, to confront the reality of the amount of food that is thrown away. It's also combined with social media, so people can bring their food and share with others. Out of home, on-the-go recycling. We see more and more on-the-go recycling. On the left hand, you see this is an airport where you can sort your waste. And what's interesting on these applications is the fact that you make the link between waste production and consumption. So you combined the two systems, and sometimes you can get a reward by recycling your waste. For example, in Hong Kong, you can. In Beijing you can pay your subway ride by recycling a plastic bottle. So we see more and more recycling on the go. Sometimes if you buy a new TV or something like that, you pay a lot of fee, and you can bring your TV to the store where you bought him. It's an application of extended producer's responsibility. This you can also bring your electronic waste to stores in some countries. Then we have door-to-door collection. We see also a lot of innovations, not a lot, but well interesting and very inspiring. This is the Oslo case, where they collect three different waste fractions in colored bags in one waste bin. This case is organic waste, plastics, and residual waste. So they have a good solution to the problem of the fact that they have not many space at home to manage the different waste fractions, and they only need one truck to collect the three waste fractions. But what we see, this is an example of sorted at the processors, not at source. I mean, and your waste, your processor have to be full operational before you can start with the waste collection with this system. So you see, they need a high-tech sorting plant, and the recycling rates of these applications are not very high. The targets are around 50%, and 50% is used for refuse-derived fuel and some things like that. This is the project in New York. They want to build waste reception centers in two floors. On the first floor, they provide a point for a compost facility for organic waste, and on the roof they want to build a park and an educational center and a place where people can farm and harvest their own vegetables and things like that. And they plan 10 islands. They want also use the space on the river, so they can combine the system with water transport. But this project is only in the concept phase. There's only not in reality. Best collection. It's best is it's Dutch for books, electronic goods, toys for children, and textile. And they organize a social project to manage the reuse stream for these products, also in support of local government. This is a very inspiring business model of it's also in Belgium, of it's where logistic companies, they have a hub to the borders of the city and then deliver with high frequency goods to the city center, to restaurants and shops and offices with electronic cars and vans and bikes, e-bikes, and they manage not also the stream of products to the city center, but also the stream out of the city center. So they picked up also packaging waste and things like that out of the city center. And this business model has a high potential, especially when you think of extended producers' responsibility for things like e-waste. If they one-to-one, if you only buy or sell by e-commerce and you have to follow your ERP, you can use this business model to manage your waste fractions. This is an example of service level, and they how should I say, they have a different service level depending on the waste fractions. For residual waste, they have a lower service level, every 2 weeks. For recyclables, they have a higher service level. So it's not an example of very smart logistics, even if you combine it with a waste a truck which can collect 2 waste fractions, and you have a lot of space at home to store all the bins. But it works. In this project, the costs per capita decreased with 10 euros. So the technique, it works. And then my last example is this is the case in Berlin, where they collect plastics, metals, and component materials in one bin. In one bag. It's also an example of sorted at the processor, not sorted at source, and we see the same story. What we see is that recycling rates are very low, 50%. The quality of the waste fraction is good because they have a high-tech sorting plant, but it's very cheap. So what we see in all these waste collection systems is that the systems become more and more customer centric, and we see this shift from the people to the self-service. All the systems making sorting waste easier, and the main drivers are scarce space and smart logistics. We see more and more on-the-go recycling, and what we also see is the collection of single waste streams with economic value. And last but not least, the traditional collection systems, they are under pressure. What do I mean? Is that we see a trend towards more and more collective living, and that trend creates a demand for more and more collective collection of waste. But our sorting rules are based on individual responsibility. So we have to rethink our and think about our waste collection systems, and because now it's not very easy to reach the high recycling rates. What we see in door-to-door collection is a standard system sorted at source. More waste fractions in one bin, I told you so. Quality of waste fractions is an attention point, but it's a good system in low populated areas. But you can ask the question if this system is also a good system today in the highly densely populated areas, because of in this case door-to-door collection, you can bring your it's a waste disposal when it suits the supplier. If you look at the bring your waste systems, it's bring your waste when it suits you. It's very also cheaper and only sorted at source. Other many advantages like torn bags, no messy streetscape, and no language barrier because you can bring your waste when it suits you. Now, what's my point, and it's most interesting fact of all these examples, is that you can't provide a bin or a bag for every waste fraction in your house or on a street corner. So you have to think about your waste collection systems, and you have to diversify your systems based on service level. You have two dimensions: the pace of waste production and the need to quick disposal. And so you can manage your service level depending on the waste fraction. For example, if you have organics, you have a high pace of waste production and you need quick disposal. So it stays here. As we look to, for example, textile, it's more in this case, in this quadrant, because you can store them at home and you produce it not at any time. So here you can see, for example, demolition waste. You can set it here because you need a quick disposal, but you don't produce the demolition waste at any time. So you can manage and you can set all the waste fractions in this scheme. Why it's important? Because if you don't think about modeling your waste collection systems, and you can get an organic overview, an organic spectrum, and you only get the highest service level for the waste fractions with the highest economic value. But these are not necessarily the waste fractions where people and the customers need the highest service level. For example, organics. So governments have to interact and rethink about these waste collection systems. So that's my last slide. Thus we start with people service, then we became to self-service, and then in the future we will have two next steps. It will be self-control and automation. What I mean, maybe in the future robots will collect our waste or sort our waste, but it's a future. But now we see the evolution from people to self-service, and it's important to correct it in the future. So this was my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Pesseroey. Any questions?
Which reward the poor people to recycle their wastes.
In Brazil?
Yes, you presented a project, smart project for rewarding the poor people to recycle their wastes. Who supports such a project?
I have to look after the details, but I think it was the United Nations. But I can give you more information if you want about this project.
Yes.
It was in cooperation with Brazil.
Any other question? Okay, I have one question. You based your presentation talking about that the 30% of the people are concerned about self-service companies or whatever. Do you plan the review of these techniques that you have explained as two types of collecting system, the standard one and the self-service one, or do you think that the society will move towards the self-service system?
I think that there will be the shift will going on from door-to-door collection to self-service. You see it in general, and you see also the shift in waste collection. But I think door-to-door collection in low populated areas is the most smartest solution. So it's not 100% a shift, but we see this evolution from from people service, self-service to automation. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Arvind Jan from India. My question is, who will bear the cost of this model? Suppose you want to implement this model in the real life environment. So who will bear this cost? Like you want to recollect the waste from the household, from the market, from the nearby areas. So who will pay the money? The customer or the government will pay the money?
You see the different types. You see countries with a lot of extended producers' responsibilities. You see countries where customers pays a lot, and you see also countries where government pays a lot. In fact, customers are also things. But if you we did the calculation, I think in Flanders, it's a region in Belgium. They government pays 130 euros per capita per year on waste management. You can't compare the situation with developing countries. So it's an interesting question. United Nations, maybe.
Thank you. Very interesting presentation. I get it. You're looking at domestic waste. Yeah. Have you seen any trends regarding industrial waste collection systems? Are there any emerging trends similar to what you've presented?
My focus was on household waste and domestic waste, but I don't think that companies and manufacturers will bring their waste. I think most of the time the waste of the supplier, you can say it's door-to-door collection in companies. Yeah. But maybe you have to organize. You have to organize and focus on your main processes. I think I don't know.
Okay. Any last question? Okay. So thank you very much.